Hi everyone, my name is Courtney and I'm here to talk about the Modularity Infrastructure Design article that I co-wrote with Ralph Bean. So I just want to make a quick note that this article is a follow-up to the Introduction to Modularity article that I wrote a while back. So in the beginning of this article, I kind of reintroduced the idea of what modularity is, why is it important. And then we discuss in Ralph's wiki article is how do we submit packages versus submitting modules? How do we update packages versus updating modules? And then finally, we discuss the actual infrastructure proposal. So we discuss what are the most two important elements in this actual proposal, namely RETA and then our continuous rebuild/compose system. And then finally, I discuss, how can you help? The goal of this article is to draw attention to our Fedora wiki page because there's a lot of great different articles on there. We want people to learn more about them. So basically, how can you help and how can you learn more about these things? And this next article that I wrote is Building Fedora Rawhide Images with Image Factory. So basically, I discussed, what is Image Factory and why do you want to build a Fedora Rawhide image? Namely is you may want to test various tools and software on Rawhide, or you may want to play around with Rawhide to see what it has to offer. So first off, I discuss about Image Factory on a high level. So I talk about the prerequisites, what kind of packages do you need and what kind of plugins do you need. And then I discuss what do we need to build an image, namely a kickstart file for the Anaconda installer and a template. And the template just basically says which OS you want to install, the version, architecture, etc., and where to install it from. So next up, I discuss modifying Oz to work with Image Factory. As you know, Image Factory is built on top of Oz, and we're going to have to modify Oz to give it enough RAM in order to build an image. Once we've done that, we're ready to build our Docker container image. So basically, I put the command for building an image here. I basically say what each parameter means. For example, the install script, which tells Image Factory which files it should use to build your image with. And then the offline icicle, which tells Oz to use features of libguestfs to mount the image offline, chroot into it, then execute an RPM command. So this should take a little more than 10 minutes to run if you don't have a cached copy of the RPMs in Image Factory. Otherwise, it should take less than 10 minutes, probably more along the lines of 5 minutes. Once it is finished, you will get an ID for the image that you just created, and it will look something like this here. Now, if the image build does fail, then most likely Rawhide is broken, in which case you may want to try just using the Fedora 24 repository. You can also check if it's an SE Linux error, and if it is, you want to try set enforce equals 0. So once we've got our image built, we're going to have to do a Docker compression, in order to actually run our Docker container. We're going to have to Docker compress it, so that's what this step here is. And then once we're done Docker compressing, we can finally load our image into Docker and run. And that's about it.